here's my last question. We touched on this earlier, how in the Bay Area they were releasing dispensary licenses to people affected by the war on drugs as a form of reparations. What do you think about reparations for descendants of slaves in America?
Wow. You didn't go there. No, you didn't go there. Do you know that slavery could have been what started me selling drugs?
Explain.
I tell people that you can't judge me until you know my story. So in order to know my story, you got to go all the way back to where it started. And we started over here. We're the only people on the planet that come over here in handcuffs and shackles.
Yeah.
So they've been practicing jail with us from day one. Just like the 13th Amendment is the only way right now that you could be made to be a slave in America, and that's if you commit a crime. They got a thing that they call post-traumatic slave syndrome. And they say that certain things can be passed down in your DNA.
I agree.
So you will see things and remember things that you don't even know where they come from.
Yeah, the trauma.
Trauma.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with that.
So I feel that if they say that trauma can be transpired, then it may be a thing where your great-great-grandfather was so enthusiastic about being free that he was willing to do anything for that. And that also could have been passed down into the DNA. Because we pick up skills, and I have skills that I don't know where they came from.
Yeah, and you could even trace it to the way certain children are raised. Like, for example, when you're 3, 4, 5 years old, you're making mud pies, you're creating imaginary situations, and those seem real to you. An adult looks at a mud pie and looks at it as mud, but a 5-year-old looks at a mud pie and thinks, oh, that's really a pie.
That's a pie.
During that stage in a child's life, when their parents are saying, you're never going to succeed, the system is built against us,
a nigga ain't shit,
these types of things, that's when you're forming a person's perception.
I wouldn't let a nigga do nothing for me.
These types of things are being embedded into that child's life for the rest of their life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And as they go through life, things are happening and they don't know why. Because early on...
And it's embedded by the people that they love.
Exactly. Their parents.
And that they cherish.
Yeah.
So when they tell you that, you take it to heart.
Yeah.
And what's worse than that, though, is even the actions. Because, you know, actions is more powerful than a word. So when you show the action of that, then the kid falls into that mold and believe that that's the action that they should be taking as well.
Yeah. You know, like, I'm an immigrant. I came over here and the only thing I saw and heard was there's so much opportunity. This is so much better than being in communist Russia. I'm going to succeed. I'm going to succeed. I'm going to succeed. That's all I knew growing up. So the fact that I'm successful now, to me, is just not a surprise. It's something I've always assumed will happen sooner or later. But if I was in a completely different type of environment...
Like me.
Like you.
I never thought that I could be doing the stuff I'm doing now. I never thought that I could go to Brown University and speak at an auditorium full of kids, some of the smartest kids in the world, and they would listen to me. I never thought.
Yeah.
I never thought that I would have my own sweatshirt with that's my picture.
Yep.
On it. I never thought. I never thought that I could be talking to the greatest boxer in the world and he would listen to me. He would talk to me. And maybe even let me give him some advice. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And if you never see yourself as that, then you can never be that. So it's very important that I do my mission. That's why my mission is bigger than money.
Mm-hmm.
It always has been. Cocaine was just to prepare me for the mission that I had to do, so that the people that I have to reach is going to be able to relate to me. See, I had to go out and play crazy, because I could always read. I just didn't know the formula. So once somebody showed me the formula, then it hit, bam, because I was always sharp. And my boy told me, he told me George Lewis from San Diego. He said, man, you one of the sharpest dudes in here. What you mean you can't read? And it came to me that, yeah, you are sharp. How can you see in the future, but you can't read on this piece of paper? See, I could always see in the future, because I saw when Mike showed me cocaine for the first time, I saw it. My little brother could tell you. When I came home that day, I said, man, if Mike ain't lying, we finna be running L.A. It was a little $50 piece, about big as a match head. Because I could see that. But I couldn't see the effect of not being around people that was doing business had on me. Because I never saw nobody who do business. When I first met a lawyer, I was looking up to the lawyer. It was only when I started to practice the law for myself to find out that he may not be as sharp as you. You might be a little more clever than he is, Rick. You might have been underestimating yourself.
Yeah, Nipsey Hussle had an interesting quote. He said, if you look at the people in your circle and you don't get inspired, you don't have a circle, you have a cage.
It's dope. Dope. So, when I was in prison, what I did, I had to create a circle. So I started buying their books. I started reading about them, what they eat, where they go, who they hang out with. And all that formulated a plan, created a vision for myself. A vision like ain't nobody seen before. People gonna be shaking their head. Like, because now what everybody say, like all my friends, y'all know who I'm talking about, all the homies. Well, man, you can do stuff because of your name. So I pat him on the back like this. I said, well, homie, you was right there with me when I made that name. I said, how'd I do it before I made the name?